Welcome to a special edition of Currents. I'm Liz Faublis. What makes a Catholic media company? We'll talk to a man who knows. Plus, extra, it's more than 100 years old and still going strong.
We're competing with the entertainment industry for time, and I think we've made the paper more attractive, we've made it more interesting.
And keeping current in the technology age.
We have to take that singular message and spread it out in a multitude of creative ways.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Tonight, as part of the Net's 3-day telethon, we're going to introduce you to the newest kid in town. Meet the Desales Media Group, and we here at Net are part of it. Desales Media is the diocese's one-step communications company that helps spread the good news throughout Brooklyn, Queens, and beyond. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's let Desales speak for itself. Our news director, Ed Wilkinson, sat down with the CEO of Desales, Art Dignam, and here's what he had to say.
Art, thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Ed. It's been a great opportunity to sit down and chat with you.
Yeah. The Desales Media Group, kind of like the new kid on the block, it's already been in existence for a couple of months, and we've all been working together. Tell us, what is your vision? What is the Desales Media Group?
Great question, a great lead-in, and I think a little bit of history probably will help all of us understand better where it came from and where it's going. About a year and a half ago, in fact, early in 2010, I first met with Monsignor Harrington, who is the Vicar for Communications, raised the idea that given the new evangelization that we're all committed to, how best to do that with the communications responsibilities of the Diocese of Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. We sat down and he and I looked at the idea that we have a TV station in Net, which has a long history of good success, the tablet, which has been with us for over 100 years. Yeah. The responsibilities to create new media outlets to really evangelize to the population of Brooklyn and Queens. And in chatting with him, and my background having been a corporate background, we focused on the idea of how most efficiently, most effectively, most economically we might be able to deliver that message of the new evangelization, to stay on target with our mission. Mm-hmm. The concept was, wouldn't it be beneficial to take all of those activities, put them under one organizational group so that you ended up having to deal with only one audit per year, one set of board of directors that you could have your governance being monitored by, and achieve that goal. It took us a long time because of the normal regulatory approval processes that we had to go through, and we were finally able to achieve it not until late in 2011. But the concept had been there from early in 2010. Mm-hmm. The name Desales comes from St. Francis de Sales. Right. And we were very much struck by his motto, which will be our motto of be who you are and be that well. Because what we wanted to have across all of our platforms, on air, in print, in the web, the idea that we want to stay focused on goal of the new evangelization. Mm-hmm. So with the concept of Desales now in full force, we have one entity where we're all pulling together, where we're able to have across all of those platforms the use of resources, the use of personnel, right, striving to that one common goal.
So the tablet is still the tablet, and
Absolutely.
the net is still the net.
Absolutely.
Right? And we're all folded in under an umbrella organization.
That's right. Yeah? So the identities are maintained.
Yeah.
The goals of each, as you can understand, do overlap. The idea of in news coverage with currents, the idea of having news coverage viewed from your perspective, what should we cover, how should we cover it, for it to be included in print, for it to be included on air, for it to be included on our various web outlets.
Well, I wanted to ask you that, how do you see one, like the tablet benefiting the net benefiting the tablet? We're all under one roof. There's got to be benefits to each other working together, right?
From the standpoint of personnel usage, we've been able to do that most recently, obviously, and it really has been proven to be beneficial. My background had been in broadcasting for a brief bit on the financial side at NBC, and you really can benefit when you have news coverage across those ideal platforms.
Yeah. This is a whole new idea, I think, in diocesan communications. This is not duplicated anywhere else, I don't think, in the United States.
No, we're unique, and I hate to use that word so many times it's used and it gets to be trite, but we are unique. We are the only station that has a show like Currents, and we're very, very proud of that. And we are the only idea that combines both a print and an on-air and the web. We're the only diocese that does that.
Right. And of course, with any new structure, there's always some growing pains, and we have to bring people together who aren't used to working with each other. We've had some meetings together. Tell us a little bit about how we've set goals, we've set objectives.
Over the last, yes, since we were both participants in it, I think the first meeting we had was early in 2011. We met together as a management group to introduce the idea that we would be, future tense, be working together. We most recently gathered together all of the functional heads at the Seminary of the Immaculate Conception in Huntington. We spent a full day around a round table, and we were able to cross-talk, and what, as you know, we all spoke about was what were the individual goals and objectives that each of us in our functional responsibilities were meaning and wanting to achieve, and how there would be interdependencies with the other functions so that we can appreciate what one another are facing. And we could pitch in and say, hey, I can help you there. And ideally, that's the type of dialogue that I like to see.
And we also had a chance to pray together, too, at the seminary. And,
yes, we were able to have it. It was a very moving. I thought that was a very exceptional opportunity. We had Mass celebrated in the Bishop's Chapel. For those of our viewers that have never been to the seminary, I serve on the board there. They welcome people coming to see it because it really is a centerpiece.
Yeah. Well, we're off to a great start, I think. Very ambitious project. And the rest of this show is going to show people, demonstrate what Desales really is. So we appreciate you coming by and giving us your insights.
I thank you, Ed. I look forward to any opportunity in the future. Thank you.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll take a closer look at Desales, and we'll start right here at the Net. Welcome back. I'm Liz Faubles. In 1602, St. Francis de Sales was consecrated Bishop of Geneva, Switzerland. Now, during his years as bishop, he acquired a reputation as a spellbinding preacher and a prolific writer. The most famous of his books, Introduction to the Devout Life, was written especially for lay people. He also wrote treatise on the love of God and many highly valued letters of spiritual direction. He was a man who knew how to communicate in the media of his time and is honored today as the patron saint of the Catholic press. Desales Media Group does what Francis did. It communicates in the media of our times. With television being one of the most popular forms of media, we'll start our look at Desales with an inside look at the Net.
The main goal we try to accomplish with the series that we create is to try to show the Catholic Church in a more modern and accessible way. You know, yes, the Church has its traditions and it has its teachings, but they can all be applied to today's world. And that's something that we try to show. We use culture and we use history and we use people and traditions, but we still have that element of faith within it.
What we can expect here at NET is new programming. The new programming that will involve covering the Pope around the world. We'll also be covering Cardinal Designate Dolan's installation mass in Rome. We'll have a new hour, the 4 o'clock hour, which will expand our Espanola, which will have Natalia Ortiz come on and do a brand new show starting hopefully this summer. I also want to continue bringing the Mass from St. Patrick's, the Mass from St. James Cathedral here in Brooklyn. I want to bring the Rosary. I want to keep what we have, but expand upon that. And we're going to go out and we're going to do reality TV. We'll follow these students, college students, adults, married couples, single couples, on a pilgrimage such as to Fatima, to Lourdes, or even in New York or California.
Welcome to the first day of the first telethon of the Prayer Channel.
When that first launched, one of the things we wanted to do with all our shows was take it into a different direction. You know, we wanted to be part of the diocese, our city. We wanted to be out there and really show how vibrant the people are, how faithful the people are.
We have grown from very small production to a more modern production, also with more quality of production. And also we as producers have learned how to communicate better with the parishioners, how to deliver our message to the parishioners. And
the proof that we have reached people and actually, you know, up the quality in our productions have been the accolades we've received in the last couple of years, which include 5 Emmy nominations, an Emmy win, as well as runner-up to Station of the Year from the Gabriels, which is one of the most important Catholic media awards out there. Most of our shows, we're trying to reflect the diversity that we have here in Brooklyn and in Queens, in our diocese. So our shows run the whole gamut of what we could present to people. For example, we'll ask the doctor, one of the big things about that show is that it's interactive. You know, we invite viewers to call in, speak to a panel of doctors, and have their medical questions answered. And it really is a community service.
I had the idea for the Faith Film Festival a long time ago because I was always interested in film. I studied film in college. I attend film festivals. I've done short films. And I always felt that I was like, you know what, I've never seen a faith-based festival. So I started doing my research, and I found that there was very little faith-based festivals, even in all of the United States. So I figured this would be a great place to have the Faith Film Festival here at NET.
One of the shows that first showed what we could accomplish here at NET is Mysteries of the Church. You know, with Mysteries we take topics like exorcism and stigmata, and you know, topics that most people, even if they're very knowledgeable about their faith, are not too sure about. You know, we try to take that and present it in a way where people would be, yes, fascinated by it, but at the end feel like they actually learned something new about their faith.
What I really like about working on Breaking Bread is that anybody at different levels of faith can watch it. But what's great about it is that throughout the show, you also little by little start learning about the faith. So they'll do the cooking segment, and then afterwards they'll have a little dessert segment in which they talk about different aspects of the faith. And we want to encourage that on the show. That, you know, you could go to a restaurant after Mass, you could have a great dinner, and it's all right to talk about faith.
And then you take a show like Too Blessed to Be Stressed, where we really try to connect to the youth of our diocese.
When NET launched, one of the first shows that we spoke about it was City of Churches. Because we are a city of churches, because our diocese is a city of churches. It's full of history, it's full of faith. So I remember when we started doing City of Churches, the first, second year, nobody knew about City of Churches, but today is different. They want us to profile the church because they love their community, they love the church, and most of it, they love their faith, our Catholic faith.
And the Emmy goes to City of Churches.
Winning an Emmy was really a surprise for all of us here in production because we're running against big local TV stations that have big budgets that we don't have. But what we have is great creative people, people with faith, and people that want to really give a message to our parishioners.
I really believe we're just scratching the surface of what we can do. I see us in the future reaching out to more people, really connecting with more people, not only through television and our shows, but also using new media and really embracing that technology and really connecting with people and their faith.
We'll have more about currents on our special show tomorrow evening, but when we come back, we'll take a look at a more traditional way of communicating. We'll look at how the Brooklyn's Catholic newspaper comes together. Welcome back, and thanks for being with us. The Tablet, the award-winning diocesan newspaper of Brooklyn and Queens, has been printed for 103 years. With the establishment of Desales Media Group, it has experienced a renaissance at a time when many other newspapers are having a hard time staying alive. Let's take a peek inside the newsroom.
Christians are just full of hope, and I think any article I write for the Tablet, I try to portray that hope, that Christian hope, that no matter how bad something is or how fun something is, ultimately is the hope of Christ that is the center of everything that we do.
The Tablet is going to be 104 years old this year. And the mission today is really pretty much the same mission that it had when it was formed back in 1908. Bishop McDonald, who was the second bishop of Brooklyn, saw a need to educate the growing Catholic population. He wanted to let the people know what was going on in the Catholic Church. He wanted to have a way of offering instruction. He wanted to have a voice in the Catholic community.
The Catholic media is so important because in the secular media, people can get mixed messages and may not fully understand the Catholic perspective on various issues. When they pick up the Tablet, we're giving them the Catholic perspective.
We know we're already in contact with the people in the pews, The challenge and the goal as we move forward is, how do we reach those other people? And how do we say, hey, take another look. This is what the Catholic Church is. The transition of the tablet into the Desales Media Group was very interesting.
I think we found out like a couple of weeks before it was about to happen, and we moved like only a couple of weeks before, so it was it was an easy transition. I mean, if anything, we got rid of all the extra paperwork and all the extra junk we probably didn't need anyway.
It gave us a wider pool of people to work with, because now all of a sudden we have a newspaper and we have a television station and we're working together. The tablet it's a very small staff, and we're very close. Wednesday morning we sit down and we do have a formal preparation meeting. We throw around ideas about what stories are out there, who's come across what, talk about story ideas and how they're progressing.
Every week is different in terms of how many stories we cover and what we have to cover.
Of course, we're out looking for news and gathering news, taking pictures on the weekends, and actually all week long.
Day to day, I'm in charge of laying out the paper, working on the ads, making reservations for the paper, laying out all the pages for the week, and working on the website, laying up all the content for the website, working on all the photos all the time. So I enjoy that.
The big day of the week for the tablet is Tuesday. That's our deadline day. That's the day that the paper leaves our hands. So everything revolves around Tuesday.
There are the editorial responsibilities of laying out the articles, the photographs that accompany them, writing headlines, captions, photo credits, and also proofreading the pages.
We're printed by the Daily News Press, and we have a certain time that we're allotted on that press, and we have to be there at a certain time. So it's a real deadline. Wednesday, we review what we've done. We take a look at where we want to go the following week, what's the news coming up, and we start the process all over again.
People support us, they write us and tell us that this is an important ministry, and that is the reason I am doing it.
You just happen upon these people, and sometimes they change your life. Sometimes you just meet them so briefly and they don't know the impact that they have on you. And that's the part of the story, I guess, that we try to put into the pages.
We rely on the Catholic News Service to get our national and international news. So we can concentrate on local stories, and there's two types of local stories. Say if there's a Supreme Court ruling. How's that going to impact on life of Catholics here in Brooklyn and Queens? That's one type of story. Then there's another type of story about what's going on in the local parishes. I mean, that's the real story. We're chronicling the story of the Diocese of Brooklyn. How the faith is lived out every day in the individual parishes of Brooklyn and Queens.
You never know who you're going to meet, and it never fails that you meet someone extraordinary wherever you go.
When I was assigned to be youth reporter in the summer, one of my first assignments was to go to Spain to cover World Youth Day. And that was exciting because this was going to change so many lives. Besides it just being an incredible spiritual journey, it was also one of the first endeavors of the tablet and Currents working together. So it was an incredible challenge that I think, as many of our viewers saw, I thought was pretty successful.
The tablet is the bishop's voice here in the diocese. The bishop has his own page, and he writes his own column. It gives the bishop a chance to get his message out on a weekly basis. We're competing with the entertainment industry for time, and I think we've made the paper more attractive, we've made it more interesting.
I feel like it is a service to the Catholic Church and to the people of Brooklyn and Queens. And that's why I love doing it.
I would hope that when people look back at the tablet and what we've tried to do, that they're going to be able to say, you know, each week as we looked at the pages of the tablet, we could see a snapshot of what was going on in the Catholic Church here in Brooklyn and Queens.
For 103 years, it's been a vital part of Brooklyn and Queens, and it hopes to continue to be a vital part for the next 100 years.
The tablet, 103 years old and still relevant for today's Catholics. When we return, new communication and the new evangelization. Bringing good news to the classroom and beyond.
Education is changing at a rapid pace, and we'll be right there with the changes in technology.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Liz Faubles. As we round out our introduction to the Desales Media Group, we'll now see the many other ways that the church in Brooklyn and Queens tells its story. We're in the classroom, we're on the World Wide Web, and we're working with the secular media to tell our story.
My official title is Press Secretary for the Diocese of Brooklyn, and basically I head up the Public Information Office, which is within the Office of Communications, and my primary responsibility is to act as a spokesperson for the diocese. So I deal with the news media when secular press, both local and national, call. They call and speak to me, and I usually act as a voice for the Diocese of Brooklyn. My role is basically to ensure that public announcements are made in the most appropriate fashion and through the most appropriate channels. What I consider to be a huge privilege, but also a huge responsibility working within Desales, is communicating the gospel. The communications office is here to let people know the wonderful work that the Diocese of Brooklyn is doing. The media have a tendency to go after sensational stories, that, you know, that things that are juicy, that we're gonna read a headline and we're gonna pick it up off of the newsstand. What we want to get in is we have so many amazing things that we're doing. You know, hey, come take a look. Like, look what we do for the poor. Look what we do for Catholic school kids. You know, look what we do for parents. You know, it's an incredible privilege. It's a huge responsibility. What we seek to do and what Desales seeks to do is to promulgate the message, to promulgate the gospel. And that's where I see myself fitting into Desales Media's mission as serving as press secretary for the Diocese of Brooklyn.
CTN's mission statement is very clear. Our goal is to provide the best educational media for the teachers in the Brooklyn Diocese. We want to help them be the best teachers, provide the best education that they can for our students. The past year has been a very exciting year for CTN. Traditionally, we have been the Catholic television network, and beginning September of 2011, we became the Catholic Telemedia Network, providing all of our services on the internet. So we have been able to meet the students and the teachers where they are. So all of our material is available to teachers and the students on the web anytime in the classroom or at home. So that is a really big change for us. We're committed to technology. Today, teaching and technology are hand in hand. So one of the projects that we just completed was our media room. We held a contest, and Holy Family School was the lucky winner of the media room. And we went in and we presented not just computers and smart boards in the classroom, but designed it so that the teaching can reach their kids at whatever level they're at that time. The technology allows you to do that. You can have kids on the laptops doing research. You can have the teacher in the front of the room on the smart board watching one of our videos. CTN supports Catholic education very directly. Not only do we provide media for math and social studies and all those standard subject areas, but a large percentage of the media that we offer is religious. It's correlated directly with the catechism and the religious objectives for teachers. So we're very proud and pleased to be able to offer that. Education is changing at a rapid pace. The tools are changing all the time, and we'll be right there with it, providing relevant media for the teachers.
The marriage between technology and the Catholic Church is important because the technology is there and everyone else is using it. Where the salvation of souls is on the line, where the revelation of Christ's gospel and the proclamation of his gospel are on the line, we need to bring every resource to bear. The IT department basically has two separate duties. What we do is provide service and support to the technology infrastructure of Desales Media Group. We also are tasked with meeting the faithful where they are online, because people practically live online these days. Keeping operations running smoothly here at Desales can be challenging because everything we do is based on technology and the movement and transfer and exchange of information. Over the next couple of years, the Desales Media Group will move into a more affirmative direction for better and more elaborate digital video delivering the tablet over digital devices, making programming more readily available to an audience eager to receive it and eager to share it and spread it around. In the Catholic Church, we have a very rich message. In all of its forms, it is the message of love. And we have to take that singular message and spread it out in a multitude of creative ways, because at the end of the day, it comes down to Christ telling us to love everyone. And therefore, we need to love everyone in every way our imaginations permit us. That is what we are doing here at Desales, and that is what we're going to be doing more creatively at Desales moving forward.
Well, that's a quick look at the work of the new Desales Media Group that brings you the net, the tablet, Catholic educational programming, and the diocesan website. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope you'll stay tuned to the Net Telethon for the next 2 days. We'll be back tomorrow at this same time, same station, with a special Saturday edition of Currents, and we'll show you how we put this program together every day and some plans that we have for the future. As we end tonight's show, we want to leave you with snapshots of just some of the people who make Desales Media what it is. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.